President Biden is expected to address the state of race relations in the U.S. during his speech to a joint session of Congress tonight. The president has already called on Congress to pass the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. The act would ban chokeholds, make it easier to prosecute police, and create a national registry for police misconduct. That bill has yet to pass in the Senate. More than 300 people have been killed by police so far this year. Black Americans are killed by police at more than twice the rate of white Americans. Between 2013 and 2020, 98% of police shootings did not result in charges. President Biden has been cautious, though, about the types of reform he wants to see. He does not support defunding the police. Mr. Biden has also paused all plans to create a police oversight commission. For more on all this, I want to bring in Jody Armour. Jody is a professor of law at the University of Southern California Gould School of Law. Professor Armour, welcome. Great to have you with us. So, as you know, police killings did not stop after the trial of Derek Chauvin. What will it take for there to be some reform to the justice system so these types of shootings, and in the case of Derek Chauvin, that was a killing of a different type, didn't involve a gun, stop happening and black families receive some justice and accountability?
Well, the activists in the streets over the summer and the protesters, our streets in LA were roiling with activists and protesters for 6 weeks in a row, day in, day out. What they've demanded, and I think we're coming to appreciate may be necessary, is an unbundling of the police. Defunding seems to be a triggering term. A more kind of neutral term would be unbundling the police, getting police to do different kinds of tasks than they are currently engaged in. For example, traffic stops. Dante Wright, just outside where the trial was taking place for Derek Chauvin, was killed as part of a traffic stop, pulled over initially partly because he had a air freshener hanging from his rearview mirror. So perhaps getting police out of those kinds of contacts with civilians so that they can focus more on what everyone wants done, that is violent homicides and rape solved and other violent crimes solved.
So when we look at specific legislation, let's talk about the George Floyd in Policing Act. Why do you believe that it's taking nearly a year to get this particular act passed in Congress?
Yeah, it's interesting that it is taking this long because these are reforms. This is part of a reformist agenda. And you asked earlier, what will it take? One of the things that we are learning is it may take more than just reforms, just incremental, marginal reforms. We tried body cams, we tried implicit bias training, we tried community policing, de-escalation training. All of that was going on in Minneapolis and more. And yet we continue to have this racial injustice Groundhog Day that we keep waking up to, which means we may have to go much deeper and look at how we can minimize contacts between police and members of stereotyped, socially marginalized communities. And that means going beyond the kinds of incremental reforms in this bill, right? This bill is a step you can't deny in the right place, I don't think, in the right direction, rather, many would say. But, it limits qualified immunity. That's a good thing. But, making officers civilly liable hasn't proven to be a panacea in other contexts. It doesn't come out of their pocket, it comes out of the municipal coffers. And so it doesn't really incentivize officers individually that much because they are insulated from liability. So a lot of these kinds of reforms are along those lines, making sure that no-knock warrants are reduced, for example, is in the bill. Better than reducing no-knock warrants, why don't we get rid of the war on drugs? Breonna Taylor is dead today as much because of the war on drugs as the lack of a warrant that required a knocking, right? And so why are we continuing to pursue this failed war on drugs that the Black community is disproportionately bearing the brunt of? That's why I would say the George Floyd Act is making reforms, incremental reforms, but not the kinds of transformational changes. And it's still having a hard time getting through, even as an incremental reform measure.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because as you point out, the problem is so multifaceted, right? It needs to be addressed from so many different directions. Like you said, the war on drugs, not only the police reform, the liability issues, but also, sort of mental health policing and the fact that there should be separate units to deal with mental health calls. All of that becomes, sort of much bigger than a single piece of legislation. But of course, we've got to keep plugging away at it. And as you know, Professor Armour, President Biden campaigned on bringing an end to racial injustices, including these police killings of Black men and women. So what do you expect to hear from the president tonight during his address to Congress? And is it realistic that this president can make this change given such a slim majority in Congress?
Right. Well, we can recall that President Biden was considered by many while he was running one of the architects of mass incarceration as we know it today. He was sponsored or strongly supported a lot of bills that increased the police presence in communities and increased penalties for people convicted of crimes. And so now he's having to reckon, in a sense, with his own record. He's having to reckon, rather, with the consequences of his own kind of law and order, tough on crime approach to politics for most of his career. And so over the summer, when the protesters in the streets were saying defund the police, he said, no, I'm going to advocate adding $300 million to the police budgets so that they can engage in community policing, de-escalation training. We can give them more money for more training, and that can get us out of this problem. And so I assume that he's going to pursue that path. He's going to propose more reforms. He's going to say, we just got to root out bad apples. It's not a systemic problem with the police. We got to get police out of communities. It's bad apples. We're going to root them out. We're going to come up with measures for that. And those kind of reformist attitudes and approaches would be consistent with what he said to this point.
All right. Well, Professor Jody Armour, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.